We start the recording and officially welcome out to the Market Watch Group Weekly Market Prep. I say officially because when you listen to the recording, you miss 3 to 5 minutes of amazing pre-market conversation. If you're here for it, you're probably nodding your head like, yeah, it's amazing. I'm just saying, there's incentives to come live, to be here, participating. Weekly, oh no, this isn't what we're doing today. I'm sorry, that's the wrong slides. I grabbed the wrong slides. Give me 1 second here. That is not what we're doing today. We are opening bell. Sorry, that's my fault. And there we go. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly opening bell. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. Here's the disclaimers. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give advice. We don't give recommendation. We are all here educational, illustrative purposes. What are we going to do today? Look at the futures, the news, what's going on this week. We know that there is some big news, but not yet. We'll look at the economic calendar, make sure we understand what that news is that we're expecting and when it's coming, what its implications may or may not be. We will look at the market posture that we came to on yesterday morning. Now, if you are not as comfortable as you would like with market posture, we actually, on last Tuesday, so if you go into the recordings and you just go back to the Tuesday and you find the foundations sessions, we walked through the posture, start to finish, explaining like, what are we trying to do with this? What does it mean? What are the implications? Anyways, we'll talk about mindset for open trades. Yeah, you may have carried some bullish trades, absolutely. And if you did, you're getting rewarded for it, but you're still thinking, okay, how much longer do I have? My time frames are much shorter. That's fine if I end up taking some profits and then I left a little on the table as a new sign of increased strength to the market. I'm okay with that. We'll look at the opening range, what its implications are. We'll look at the early week opportunity list. There's a lot of things that just need pullbacks. So you're going to see when we go through the watch list over and over and over again, we're like, yeah, looks good. We're just waiting for a pullback. Well, waiting for a pullback. What should we do here? I don't know. Wait for a pullback. And we'll talk about this week's trading plan section, section 1. Everybody should be putting some time in, at least a paragraph per section. If you're on your first pass, this is the refined pass. Nope, this is the defined pass. Second pass is refined. Define it, refine it, polish it, and then optimize it. That's our trading plan progression. So important. So many people neglect actually developing a robust trading plan as part of their learning how to trade. It baffles me. Okay, let's go. Let's go look at the futures. How's everybody feeling? The standard questions. How are you feeling? That's question number 1. Is that how you wanted to feel? Question number 2. Yeah? Question number 1, how are you feeling? I feel good. I feel like I'm in control. I feel like I have a plan. I feel like I have a good read on the market. I feel like I'm not feeling anxious. Those are good. That feels very professor-ish. Right? Those are the professor emotions we want to feel. What do we not want to feel? Panic, scared, anxious, angry, sad. Those are chimp emotions. I don't know. Maybe not sad. Maybe we can be sad still. Oh, good morning, Michael. Michael, I sent you a message in Discord. David, oh, good. Wonderful. Wonderful. I see a few new people whose names I haven't seen before. Welcome out. It's good to see everybody when you're new. Oh, man. I want to say good morning. I think it's Sam. And go to personal messages, direct messages. If you guys are learning how to use Skype, let me actually, this is interesting here. This is our server. You know, you're on that's our beautiful green bowl. The beautiful green Market Watch bowl. Right above that, it says direct messages. That's where you can actually, and I'll say this because you might, like, for example, tonight, we are having a cocktail hour. 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 8:30 Eastern. Wherever that puts you, where we're just going to get on and nothing, just chit-chat. That's it. Good morning, Sam. Yeah, we're just going to chit-chat, get to know each other. It's nice. What do I expect eventually is happening? I expect that people will find like-minded traders who are like, oh, you asked this question. I do that. And then all of a sudden, you know, I think the concept of a trading partner is, I think it's important. Now, the reason I say a trading partner is important because it gives you someone to talk to, bounce ideas, process. You have that here. I hope you find, right? I hope that this community helps to ease the loneliness that trading can create, the isolation you can feel when you trade, where you can come and have a safe space to talk about it, to get some feedback or right, bounce ideas off someone. But I would actually say that you may find, you know, where you connect, you know, even with someone deeper than that, when you're like, hey, we share a lot of trading styles and characteristics. Yeah, it makes sense to then interact with that person. That's really hard to find. I was able to find those through my work. I was a trading coach, so I worked with other trading coaches. So it's like, yeah, look, that's not many people have that. And so that's part of what I hope that the Discord becomes, is the ability to, you know, find others that help you with your journey, right? Your tribe. Okay. Did that help? I hope that helped. Direct messages. That's where you can connect and send things directly to people. I hope you're always comfortable just coming in here to our different channels. Ask a question, trade a suggestion box, trading discussions, Market Watch chat. A lot of different places for you to just go in, ask a question, answer a question, participate in a discussion. You'll hear me say, let's continue the conversation offline. We're not really offline, off stage. Let's put it. Okay, futures are up. Big? Okay. They're okay. 0.17 for the S&P, 0.09 for the Dow, 0.16 for the NASDAQ, 0.05 for the Russell. Oil jumped pretty good, 1.5 almost. Futures edge ever so slightly higher. We said, hey, we don't know that we're done. We know that we just went up for 4 straight days. 5 if you consider the open of day 1, the open of Monday. If you remember last week, we opened down 4%. Well, by the end of the day, we got 1% back, and then we got another, and then another, and then all of a sudden we were right back, and then it's like, here we are. Okay. So let's talk about what that means for us. Here is the posture. As you highlight what's been going on here, as I highlight what's been going on here, we dropped from a 5.75 to a 5. And we're like, yeah, it's not great. It's not terrible yet. And then the next week, we went from a 0.75 drop to a 1.25 drop. And that was just kind of like, we're like, yeah, here we are. We're in a We're now in a consolidation, and we're not quite sure what that's going to look like, right? That's a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago when we're like, whoa, everything needs to be, all of our bells and whistles were going off. We were saying, let's tighten things up. Let's ease risk. Let's make sure we said things like less anticipation, right? Less anticipation in trades. I wouldn't anticipate. I'm gonna dial back time frames, right? These are all the things that, as our posture does this, we should have been like, oh, this isn't great. Let's make sure we're ready. We looked at, is this going to be a 5% consolidation, a 10% correction? What are the possibilities? It turned out to be kind of a higher, closer to 10%, but it moved quickly. It didn't take 3 months like that previous one. It's bam, it's down. And now we're wondering, is it done? Are we done? What does our posture say? Well, our posture the next week dropped even worse. From July 21st to the 28th, we dropped 1.25. From the 28th to the 4th, we dropped 1.5. We're like, ooh, it's getting nasty. And then what? And then we stabilized. We dropped a quarter, which is okay. We stabilized around a 2, which is still bullish. Slightly bullish, but still bullish. We didn't even drop into overall neutral territory. So that's the context that I want to come into the week with, is just like, hey, how are things looking? So what does this mean? It means that if I get bullish signals, I think there's enough underlying strength in the market that I'm going to go. Am I going to go as heavy as I did at a 5 or a 6? No, but I'm definitely going to go. And so you've heard me talk about sneaky reversal. Like right now, what we've seen is enough buying pressure in the last 5 days in our tug of war that the buyers have yanked it back across the line. They're like, we're in this, man. Don't think we're not. They gave it a good hard. They're not even done yet. Maybe they are today. We don't know. As of this morning, we don't think so. Let's go take a quick peek. You can see here we are up at the top of this. We're still under the 50. It's not like we're like, oh man, the buyers are so strong today. We're like, yeah, the buyers open the market, but do we look at this and think it definitely seems to be running out of steam? Why do we think that? There's the start. That was Monday. We got down, got one back, then another, then missed, then got 2. One more, we're right back where we started. Okay. Now what? Well, the problem is our volume is diverging from our price. Price going higher, volume going lower. What does that tell us? It tells us our buyers are diminishing. And as those buyers diminish, even if it's just some profit takers like us, where we might be like, yeah, okay, it did its thing, I'm gonna sell. Well, if you were trading stock, you're putting a little bit of selling pressure in there. And if there's enough people, as the buyers are like, oh, we're taking a break, if there's enough people that take profit, it's going to pull back. But if that's all that there is, right? The sellers back here, when it dropped from 565 down to 511, when it dropped almost 10%, that's not like profit taking. That's realigning. That's some panic. So we're wondering, is that panic over? Is it done? Are they finished? Or is there still more of them? If there's panic sellers, then they're going to drop it all the way back to the prior low and maybe even a lower low. That's when we're like, oh, the sellers are still in control. And if you think that might happen, if there's been enough posture decline that you want that balance, then you might trade bearishly as this thing rolls over to see if it catches it. Now, if you're not doing that because you're like, I'm not comfortable trading bullishly, okay. All you're going to do is wait, and you're hopeful that it's going to pull back for a couple of days and then bounce. A couple of days and then bounce. What else would be happening? The VIX would be giving us a lower high. So if the market were to go down for a couple of days, what is the VIX going to do? It's going to go up for a couple of days. Look how high it was here. So the prospects of us right now, two things that are very high in prospect. Number one, a higher low. A higher low is what got us here in the first place. Way back here, right? Way back here, July 23rd, we got a signal. Then we got another one here. Way before all of this happened, our VIX was giving us signals, which is why, remember I told you guys that I'm going to convince Glenn? He's like, I don't really look at the VIX. I'm a chart guy. And he means like he looks at the charts of the stocks. I get that. This here, this is our peek around the corner. The institutions play their cards close to the chest. They don't tip their hands and tell you how they're thinking, aligning, or doing. In fact, they lie, cheat, and steal. Yeah? They lie, cheat, and steal to get an edge. Well, guess what? When they get nervous, they're going to hedge. And they cannot hide that. That's what we're looking for. The reason they cannot hide that is because they're buying something on an open market. And that open market is those prices are going to tell a story. The way that those prices tell a story is here on the VIX. Yeah, we can't ignore this information. You can see how good it was. Look at this escalation. We got two escalation signals before the proverbial shit hit the fan, right? Now what? Well, we're still seeing more escalation as it's pulling back. This is yet another higher low, but it's also, in my opinion, going to be another lower high, right? It might bounce up only to this level. So if you see this, if you don't have a lot of bullish trades on, you're not really in need of a hedge, if that makes sense. We don't need to hedge. Okay. That's the VIX. So what is our final score? We said we are a 2. How did we get there? Long term stayed the same. Short term stayed the same. Volume improved by 1/4 point. Major market declined by 1/4 point. Sector declined by 1/4 point, and the VIX stayed the same. We dropped to a 2. Whoops. Did not mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's go look at our opening range now that we're open. And you can see, yes, the buyers opened the market. It's only been 7 minutes, but not much going on. What just happened? You can see that we got right to this old resistance from Friday. It got up to this same level and just boop, came back down. We're there again. It's having a hard time. Okay. It's having a hard time. That's information. But what I'm saying, I need my drawing tool. I get nervous. I need to find a new drawing tool. This thing locks my computer up for some reason. Comments, questions. Do you see it the same? Do you see it different? What are you trading? What are you thinking of trading? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, you can even see just empirically this move here much different than this move here, right? It's not like I feel or I think it's bigger. I can see it. It's clearly bigger. The buyers clearly did more this time than they did last time. And even still, what are we saying to ourselves? Just watching? That's fine with me. You guys are just, you know the rule. If you're not commenting, that means you're just sitting back mesmerized. Mesmerized by the presentation. And I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I can live with that. Pulls back a little bit. There's that little bump. And then all of a sudden, what? That's the reversal. This is in line. This is how we've been drawing our consolidation line. This makes sense. We wondered back here, hey, is this going to do anything? 2 days later, we're like, nope. Nope. It's right back under its consolidation. Okay, now what? Even though remember that breaking the consolidation, that's just step number 1 right here, right? Number 2, we make this high. It's at a new place, and now we need number 3. Number 3 is the higher low that says sellers have lost their ability to push it down. Again, you can see that same pattern back here, right? You can see the same pattern, the same little shake off. That was back in after a 5%. If you go back to August, September, October of last year, you'll see the 10% that took 3 months, but I don't see this like that now. I feel like this was much faster. We got a shoe, then another shoe, right? We got 2 drops, 1, 2. So a correction when you drop 10%, typically going to be in 1 or 2 moves. We got last time it was 3. This time it seems like it's 2. It dropped 9.7%. There's a lot of different places that have shown this same kind of recovery pushing back up like this. Yeah. So if you go look at this week's watch list that I put out on the email, there's a lot of stuff that actually hasn't started pulling back yet, but that I like. Apple, Palantir, TSM, Amazon. Usually I wait for them to start setting up, but it might be fast. And so I wanted to get those on my watch list. So this week's focus list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 from 6 different sectors. Not all of them are ready. In fact, hardly any of them. We need the pullback. But as you look at today's market, I mean, we're only 11 minutes in. But does it look like things are starting to find some resistance after we had nice 4.5 days in a row? Yes, it does. Okay. This is the story that I think makes the most amount of sense. Will I buy puts? Probably. I will. I'll probably a bunch. No, I'll probably buy some puts on the S&P, right? I'm just like, hey, if it's gonna drop, and all of a sudden something crazy happens, walk upstairs, fall out windows. If you want puts, they better be on. You can't wait like, oh, things are starting to fall. Should we buy some puts? You already fell out of a window. There's no time for that. So it's now, like it's not now, but as it rolls, maybe one more day. So if tomorrow it kind of rolls over, right, it starts onto the backside of this downward descent the next day, then it's like, okay, put that on. Set up on MMM. Love it. Love that you're calling it out. That is on our list. That is on our core list and our focus list this week, David. Let me know, anyone, if this pattern doesn't make sense, because we talk about this pattern all the time. This concept and how it plays out, whether it's in context with a trend. I mean, this is the reversal. When we're in trend, a pullback is just a pullback. Obviously, this is something different. This moved into a deeper consolidation. Now we're figuring out what is it going to be. What would the price pattern be that this would be setting up? An inverted head and shoulders, right? Inverted head and shoulders, which is a reversal pattern. Okay. Inverted head and shoulders, Michael, is a bullish reversal head and shoulders, which is interesting because that's the thing is it's like we have competing shoulder, head, shoulder. That's a head and shoulders. That's the neckline. It broke it. But the pattern actually only dictates that it goes that far the other way. And now all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline, inverted head and shoulders. And it would just be, Look, it's not always clean. Trading's not always clean. It's a head and shoulder followed by an inverted head and shoulders. Hence the motto of our group: be water, my friends. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a good discussion. Great discussion. What else? We want good news on inflation. When are we gonna get that? Well, let's go to the calendar and see. Oh, we're gonna get that tomorrow. Starting tomorrow. What do we have today? Nothing. We don't care about the monthly U.S. federal budget. What we do care about is producer price index, core CPI, PPI year over year, core CPI year over year. At or below forecast. And I would expect all signals are go for the Fed to cut in September. This is really the last CPI and PPI we get before the September report upcoming, where there is quite a, I don't know what's going on. My page is unresponsive. All right, let's go back to the charts. I can't wait for you. Oh, we come back and look at that. Red already showing up. So, as I said, if you held anything bullishly, you should absolutely be managing those now. What are your stops going to be intraday? What are you going to do to protect what you have so that you didn't hold through the weekend only to watch it drop on Monday and be like, oh, I should have just got out Friday. Manage the trades. I would think that, you would, if you didn't have stops that were going to trigger, and I wouldn't expect that you would from the overnight, you could have just had the same stops in place. But definitely you want to have a sense of how you're going to manage. Okay, let's get to the watch list. Well, yeah, here's the thing. Setup. What does the setup mean? It means that we think that the sellers have come in, pushed it down, and now we're waiting for the buyers. Setup is a setup. Just because it's not today doesn't mean it's not a setup, right? It could be a setup today, to tomorrow. Could be a setup by the morning or by the afternoon. Again, we are trying to be as fluid as we can. Okay, it's back up and running. So we have PPI today. No, PPI tomorrow. CPI on Wednesday. That's where we're looking to see, does the Fed have what it needs? I don't know. Do we pull back over the next couple of days waiting for full confirmation out of CPI, and then Wednesday sort of pops out and we just get 2 days? Who knows? Let's get to the top of the watch list and see what's going on. Apple has done enough. It just has to pull back now. I'm not going to buy it after 5 days of high. I'm going to wait for the next consolidation, right? That'd be like if I bought it right there. I don't want to buy it after 5 days up. I want to buy it after the pullback and catch this next move so I can ride for this, right? Like that's what we want next, ideally. So we have to be patient right now. It's up a little bit today. We're waiting for a pullback. Next move, we're ready to go. I think Apple looks and Apple is a market leader. So Apple can do a lot of good helping the rest of the market be more bullish. Amazon, it's well under the 200. But I would still, I don't know. I put it on the list. I would still think about it. If it pulls back and doesn't get below 160 and it like does this, honestly, Right now, I think the consolidation is pretty steep. It's kind of like this, right? So last time it tried, it did something very similar. And then what did it do? It just dropped all the way back in. There was nothing there. Now we're back up, a little pullback, and yeah, that looks enticing if I see that, even if it's below the 200-day. Give me your thoughts on that. AXP. I put that on my list because why? Because it didn't even get down to it's hovering around the 50 and the 100. So I think that one has maintained its strength. BAC I put as well. That one did get down to the 200, but it had a nice big pop up, come down to the 50 or down to the 200 as support, and I think we could have some kind of a bounce. We'll see. BLDR, no, I didn't put that one on, actually. Citi, I did not put this one on. Caterpillar, I did put on for industrials. Caterpillar, I feel like, has a stronger ability now. If it can pull back, hold at the 200, that would be a great looking trade. Colgate on the list. Pulling back, we have a number. We have 4 defensives on our list: Colgate, Costco, Coke, and 3M. This is getting close, I think. Chipotle, I have Chipotle on my list for consumer, but I'm waiting for a pullback. Costco on my list, waiting for a pullback. CSX, I'm watching, but it's not on my list of focus stocks this week. Carvana is it's one of the few that are holding above the 50. This is what the Dow looks like today. Nothing super impressive there. Fastenal. I put Fastenal on my list with Caterpillar. Those are the two. But I don't know. As I look at it, I'm thinking, you know what? If it breaks this low, then I'm going to take it right off. Bitcoin seems to be rolling over. That has a bit of a bearish look to it. Gold, we said that's where it looked like it was bouncing, and 3 days up now. I don't trade gold a lot. I'll be honest. I don't trade a lot of gold. I put General Motors on my list for focus because that's a good move. That's the consolidation. And then it pulls back. Yeah. In there. Google, I did not put on the list. It needs to do more. Home Depot, I did not put on the list. Too close to earnings. IWM. Small caps are down. JP Morgan, I did put on the list. So I put 3 financials for credit, AXP, for bank, Bank of America, for broker, JP Morgan. KBH, no, but an argument could be made. Coca-Cola, yes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There's Coca-Cola. Strong trend. Higher highs. Pulling back. Meta. Yes. Meta is taking a leadership position in the communication services space. In my opinion, moving it in front of Google. At least for the time being. MMM. I agree. Still kind of setting up. I mean, you can see it's pinching down here. The sellers tried and then have had it for like this whole time. Really has hardly dropped. We're just waiting for price confirmation on something like that. Morgan Stanley. Yeah, that doesn't look great, does it? Microsoft. I'm actually did I put Microsoft on the list? feel like I'm a maybe. I didn't put it on the list. But as I look at it and I think, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think this would be a sneaky reversal. I think it could end up down back like right around where this would be, but Microsoft's the leader, and if it moved into a good position, it's not. Yeah, I don't mean any of these are trades now. I mean, do we think this belongs on the focus list? That if it pulled back, we have a lot that have stronger bullish moves than this. That did more like this, right? And it's like, ooh, these things have an easier ability for the reversal. This is not quite as convincing, in my opinion. Let me change the color. Micron. No. Right? No. That doesn't look like it's reversing. That looks like it's just like sinking. Netflix. Yes. That's enough. That's where I'm like, look at the buyers. Look at the difference there. Micron. It went from here to here. It's like, ooh, we made a little bit of ground back. Netflix. It's boom. It went from here to here. Much more convincing. Nvidia. I'm a maybe on Nvidia, but I'll tell you right now, I like TSM better. OII. This looks like a top hat. This looks like a big Head and Shoulders. And you can see it's running into some resistance at this old level. Oceaneering International. PLTR. I like it, but I need to wait for a pullback. Here's the SPY. The selling is increasing. Are we surprised? No. We said we think that the sellers are likely to come soon. And there's some sellers. Now we evaluate, right? We have to evaluate. Yeah. Okay. TJX. I'm iffy. TSM. Yes. That's the leader. Hopefully you can see why I say that. Look what the buyers did here. Here's the consolidation line. Smashed right through it. Any kind of a small pullback in there. Feeling good about it. Right? Okay. Sorry, just had to look at one quick trade. No. Where are we at with the dollar? Staying down. That's a good place for the market. Look, don't fight the Fed. If what we see this week moves us into a position where we think that the Fed is going to give us those accommodations that we were looking at yesterday, here's where we're at. Press and I think one other, Clint maybe, they said half. 2 quarter point cuts over the next 3 meetings. I've moved into 3. One a meeting for the next 3. I think once the Fed moves into like, hey, they're going to do it. And we had some people who thought 1%. So, okay, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Here is the VIX now. And you can see that we're up a little bit from yesterday, but kind of flat for the day. If we get a little uptick and then rolls over, and it might be just that fast. Look back here. Okay, I want you to see. One day, pause, done. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That would be confirmation. We would be getting a number of signals. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to be ready for it. That would absolutely be what I would be looking for. Let me actually go back real quickly. Then we'll go talk about the trading plan. Any questions? We've talked about the posture. We've talked about the market. We've talked about the calendar. We've talked about the watch list. We've talked about our mindset. That's what we do when we open the market. We start the week all in control. Let me go back 1 year. Is it making sense? Is it clear as mud? Clear as something? Here. Whoops. Here. Same thing. We came out of this one day up, rolled over. Okay. Let's go. Let me zoom this back out. And I am going to mark this day here and point it. One day and then it rolled over. And then I'm going to do this one here. One day and then it rolled over. Okay. Those are the two key areas that we think mark what we might see when we had what? The setup was a high VIX with a steep drop coming out of it. High VIX with a steep drop coming out of it. And then we're looking to identify the next move. Is this a pattern that we should be paying attention to? That's our question. So you'll notice that my two green arrows are pointing literally to the very low bottoms. And then the next arrows are pointing to confirmation. Right? Bottoms, confirmation. Bottom, confirmation. What was the bottom signal? That the VIX was at its highest point. So I'm not telling you you're going to trade that. Guess what? Also here, the VIX was at its highest point. At its highest point. Would I have said, we should buy? We actually bought the next day. We're like, hey, if it's going to recover, it's going to be now. Did we a lot? No, but that's where it would happen, right? But now what? Now we're looking for confirmation. Bottom confirmation, bottom confirmation. Now what? Do you see the pattern? Does it? I mean, I hope you're not like, oh, Scott, I don't even. It's like you see a rhinoceros in the clouds. What are you talking about? I don't see it. Yes? Okay. Bob sees it. As long as Bob sees it, we're going to move forward. I love it. I think we're right where we want to be. I think everything here is lining up to give us that same type of a situation. Right? Okay. Last things last. Our trading plan. We are working on, let me get rid of those. We are working on section 1. This is where you are going to have a real deep session with yourself, thinking about your strengths, the things that make you a good trader, your weaknesses, the things that you're struggling with, the things that you can set goals to help turn from weaknesses to strengths. This is where you write a commitment and discipline statement, a mission statement, a vision statement. And you might be thinking, I have no idea what any of those are, Scott. Great. Go take a look at our sample plan. Right? Go look at the sample plan. Get some inspiration. Get some starting points. Yeah? Lee, I mentioned you the other day. I said Lee told me he got some great benefit from being able to get He said, yes, do that. He's attesting to it in person this time. If you didn't believe me last time, I'm like, Lee said it was good. He said it was helpful. Yeah, Steven, that's a great call out, man. If we get the news, it could go fast. And we've got to be Johnny on the spot, ready to go. We cannot hesitate when we get what we're looking for. That's the whole point of having the market posture. To say, hey, yeah, it got a little nasty, but we're still a 2. The fundamental strength is still there, so that if we get these little, like, are we sure? No. That's the wrong question. Don't ask if you're sure. You're never going to be sure. You're not sure. Do you have the signals that you need? Do you have the information that you need to go forward? Can you do it in a controlled risk fashion where you still feel comfortable with what you're doing? That's what we're, but yes, I agree. Why is the IWM weak right now knowing the rate? That's a great question, Press. I think it got a little ahead of itself on the initial move, and then now it's kind of pulling back a little bit. I don't know. That's something I'm keeping an eye on as well. Again, I want you guys to notice the depth of the discussion we have. Those are the little things that we've programmed our mind to be like, wait a second. The little Panasonic dog cocking his head to the side, like, what the hell? Wait a second. I love it. Yeah, I don't know, right? But that's something we should keep our eyes on for sure. Yeah, I like our watch list. I think we have good stuff. I like our posture. I like the way the market's setting up. Meaning, we're coming out of I'm going to call it a correction, 9.7. I should go look at the SPX. The SPX may have hit the full 10. But are we going to be like, it was only 9.8? That's not a correction. Of course we're not. That's not what we do. We're not dogmatic like that. All right. Yeah, I think we have trades set up this week. I'm ready. I want it. I feel like we've shown good patience in the face of what the market's done. No panicking, nothing like that. So yeah, let's get ready to be rewarded for it. I got to run. It's great to see everybody. I hope I'll see you tonight for at least a little bit. Chit chat, say hello, have a drink and whatnot. But if not, I'll see you Wednesday or maybe Tuesday night. Either way, as always, happy trading.